Hi there. Welcome back to Literacy Kaleidoscope with your host, me. You can go follow. I like that. With the longer review for This Spells Love, which is a romantic, spicy book, which is weird for someone who is on the asexual spectrum. So far in the asexual spectrum, then I'm sexually repulsed, but this one's fine. And it's about a girl who makes a spell that allows her to live the what if. What if she never met her ex? And she ends up in a world where she doesn't befriend her best friend, Dex. I believe this is Dex, and that's Gemma. And she finds a world where she opens up her shop that she's always wanted to do, but it's never had the courage or the bravery to do it, and that she did a lot of things that she wished she had the courage to do, but because of Stuart, who pushed her to be more stable, she never did. But she also found that she doesn't own a car, lives in a basement. It's every single connection she made that has helped out her best friend, Dex, does no longer exist. Because those connections were done because she met Scoot. And that's good. The romance is sweet and adorable, and it's natural. They do feel like characters that can. It's a little overdone, mostly because she has knowledge of him from the past. It's like very groundhog in the sense that technically that relationship with the reporter isn't true romance because he's been living so many long times and lifetimes that he knows her wants and desires. And the same thing could be said here because she knows him in his true nature. But at the same time, she also deals in a timeline where he has a harder time with his custom shoe shop. So that was interesting. But what I found really, really sells this book for me. The reason I gave it a 4.5 is not for the romance, which is weird because it's a romance book, but I usually don't read romance books for the romance. I read books because of the relationship aspect of it. Sometimes between the side characters, there's like a couple really, really different times that I've read a romance book and the couple is such an aspect, like a great aspect of a full story. It's a core driving part of it. And I love it. And that's not my problem. But this is Spells Love. It's not the relation. The relationship is fine. But the relationship she has with her aunt, who is basically her adopted mother because she had absent parents who are still absent in this universe as well, which is hilarious in my opinion, is the fact that she has this really deep connection with her aunt that basically acted like her mother and is the one that brought the spell book and owns a bookshop, and she has these crazy things. She's a little cookie, and it's adorable and hilarious how she basically is so open and close to her. She calls her by a nickname. She never calls her by. Can't find the name. She has a sweet, adorable nickname for her. Can't find it. Poodle. That's the nickname. She calls her Poodle, which is adorable. And I kind of want to call her Poodle because Gemma. Gemma is such a weird name. I like the nickname Poodle. Poodle and her aunt are adorable, and they rely on each other really well. And they have this camaraderie and understanding between each other. And her aunt tries to be kind, but also pushes her. And her sister. Her sister is Christy. I think her name Christy is a stay-at-home mother, has 3 kids, is super involved in her life, but also is a caregiver. They're all caregiver, which is hilariously amusing because they all want to help each other out. They're terrible at telling each other their own needs. The end is a little better because it's clear that she had much more security in her developmental stages other than the 2 girls. But they are so caregivers that it takes until, the whole realizing that her presence in the dimension is causing damage to the dimension and causing harm to her best friend. What happens in these stories all the time. It's very cliche. You can tell what's going to happen pretty soon. So it's not a spoiler. I'm not going to give what happens, but something really bad happens to Dex. And she comes to realize that her presence in the dimension is causing him harm. And she has to return back to her own dimension, which is kind of hard for her because she's finally recognizing and finding this role in this world that she's loving. She's opening up more shops. Wild Beauty, which is her last name, is wild. Is getting more places, getting into spas and stuff. But she's coming to the realization that turning Dex And during that whole conflict, she finds out that her sister wants to use her degree as a marketing manager, and she's applying for jobs because she wants to be more than just a stay-at-home mom, which is like really admirable. And like being a stay-at-home mom is really hard work, but she feels she wants to be selfish. She's not being selfish. She's just, being a human who wants to have things that they, call her own. And so she goes out, and her recognizing and realizing that her own sister in her own dimension wants that is very humorous. So I found the relationship between the aunts and the sisters really adorable and sweet. It's not a big aspect of the story, but when they're in the center stage, they're beautiful and brilliant, and that relationship feels so natural and feels alien at the same time because they don't. Poodle is from a different dimension. So Poodle has different relationships with her aunt and her sister, so she still feels kind of like she's on the other side of this class that's connecting with them. But her family, her sister and her aunt, want to connect really deeply, and it kind of makes her feel isolated and alone. And that's the good, funny thing about being a caregiver is you can't like announce it or pronounce it. And so now she wants to be a caregiver as well. So it's about caregiving each other. It's hilarious and funny and also sad. And they kind of slowly learn to be vulnerable with each other and be honest about their own emotions. And in the end, it allows her to really help and actually support her sister and uprise her sister now that she's in her own dimension and she's doing her dream. Because now she can recognize that she could make Wild Beauty into reality. So it's adorable and sweet. But yeah, I gave it a 4.5 out of stars just because it's not perfect. And I just didn't, the relationship was fine between her and Spoodle and Tex. But I felt that the romance, for me, I think it was like 4.25, didn't capture me enough to go like, oh my gosh, I really care that they're together. And I want them to be happy. It was more, I want her to understand her own identity and be able to take a step back from being a caregiver and also being the person who needs to be caregiven, taken care of, and learn to step out for herself and learn her own identity and her own wants and needs and be able to take those steps forwards to be a person who can understand her wants and needs without having to ask someone else if she has the right to have those wants or needs. And it grows on you, and it's beautiful. It wasn't like a home run, but it was a good book. So yeah, I'm also announcing that I'm not going to do streaming for the weekend because I am going to make a skirt. Yeah, I'm learning sewing this year. I'm going to learn how to make a little skirt and a long skirt, like a flow skirt, and hopefully going to start learning how to do an emperor dress. And I'm going to make my own clothing because I have a style that I want to do that I can't find in stores. So I'm going to make my own dresses. So yeah, I won't be doing Twitch for a while because I'm going to be making my own clothing. So yeah, wish me luck on that. Hopefully, before the weekend happens, I'll be publishing a short, because this is, again, a nonfiction self-help book, A Stolen Focus, Why You Can't Pay Attention and How to Think Deeply. I am very close to finishing it. So I'll make a short on it. It's really fascinating and love it. It dives into different forms of psychology and super cool. So yeah, see you then.